Morning to evening, within just a few hours, the fate of actor-politician Vijay's much-anticipated film, Jana Nayagan, swung dramatically. Hello and welcome to The Print. I am Ruchi Bhattar, and in this video, I'll explain how the Madras High Court cleared Vijay's Jana Nayagan first, only to stay its release hours later. On Friday morning, a single judge cleared the film's release, holding that the Central Board of Film Certification, or CBFC, had acted without jurisdiction in referring the film for a fresh review after already approving it. However, within hours of the single judge order, a division bench temporarily stayed that direction, pushing the film's release into uncertainty once again, with all eyes on the division bench's hearing scheduled later this January. Before getting into Friday's legal tour, let me tell you why the movie landed in the High Court. In May 2024, KVN Productions commenced pre-production for Jana Nayagan with principal photography beginning in October. Following completion of post-production, the producers applied for certification on December 18, 2025. On December 22nd, the regional officer of the CBFC informed the producers that the examining committee had unanimously recommended a UA 16 plus certificate subject to certain excisions and modifications. The petitioner complied with these requirements and submitted a revised version of the film within 2 days. While the CBFC verified the modification, the certification process encountered a technical limitation on the online portal, which prevented the final upload of audio descriptions and closed captions. The matter took a dramatic turn on January 5, 2026, when the petitioner received an email stating that the competent authority had decided to refer the film to a revising committee under Rule 24 of the Cinematograph Certification Rules 2024. This decision was based on a letter complaint described as an interesting read by the High Court, alleging that the film could disturb religious harmony of this great country and contain problematic portrayals of the armed forces. The court noted that the referral came as a total shock to the producers, especially since the examining committee had already viewed and approved the film subject to specific cuts. Justice Asha, unsparing in her criticism of the complainant's conduct, noted that the member had personally signed the unanimous recommendation on December 19, 2025. The court remarked that such a reversal would undermine the credibility and sanctity of the CBFC's certification process. The court further observed that most of the objections raised in the complaint had already been addressed through the cuts directed by the examining committee. The claim that objections were not considered was found to be an afterthought and appeared motivated. At the heart of this dispute was whether the CBFC chairperson retained the authority to refer a film to a revising committee after the board had accepted and communicated the examining committee's recommendation. Interpreting the Cinematograph Certification Rules 2024, the court held that the chairperson's power is not open-ended. Justice Asha ruled, and I quote, that such power can be exercised only prior to the decision contemplated under Rule 24 being taken and communicated as per Rule 26. End quote. Since the CBFC had already communicated its decision to grant a UA certificate subject to cuts on December 22, 2025, the court held that the chairperson's jurisdiction to refer the film for review had ceased. What happened on Friday morning, the single judge allowing the producer's plea? Justice P.T. Asha allowed a petition filed by KVN Productions LLP directing the CBFC to immediately issue the censor certificate that had been withheld due to a last-minute procedural reversal. The court examined the authority of the CBFC chairperson to entertain a complaint and subsequently refer the film to a revising committee after the certification decision had already been taken. On perusal of records, the court found the complaint triggering the re-review had been filed by a member of the very same examining committee that had unanimously recommended certification of the film. Justice Asha observed, and I quote, that it is therefore crystal clear that the complainant's grievance that he had not been granted an opportunity appears to be an afterthought and appears motivated. Further, such a volte-face by a member of an examining committee who had made a recommendation after viewing and assimilating the film would give rise to a dangerous trend of members reneging on the recommendation, and the sanctity placed on the decision of the examining committee of the CBFC would stand eroded. End quote. What happened on Friday evening? The division bench stayed the order after the CBFC's appeal. Around 4:45 p.m. on Friday, a division bench comprising Chief Justice Mahindra Mohan Srivastava and Justice G. Arulmurugan temporarily stayed Justice Asha's order on a plea moved by the central government. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, appearing for the CBFC, argued that the finding of the single judge that the chairperson's letter was without jurisdiction was not even under challenge in the petition before the court. He contended that there was urgency since appropriate relief had not been granted. Senior advocate Mukul Rohtagi, appearing for KVN Productions, pointed out that the complaint was filed by a member of the examining committee itself and that the urgency arose because the film was scheduled to release on January 9th itself. Ultimately, the division bench stayed the single judge's direction to grant a UA certificate and posted the matter for further hearing on January 21st, 2026. The film's release was postponed despite reports suggesting that over 2 lakh tickets had already been sold. The producers are yet to announce a fresh release date. Friday afternoon, Vijay's political party, Tamilaga Vitri Kazagam (TVK), announced the formation of an election manifesto committee ahead of the Tamil Nadu Assembly polls scheduled for April and May 2026. So, what's the final outcome? Emphasizing that certification automatically follows once a producer complies with mandated excisions, the single judge set aside the chairperson's decision to refer the film to a revising committee, terming it one without jurisdiction. Invoking its power to mold relief so that justice is not defeated by technicalities, the court issued a writ of mandamus directing the regional officer of the CBFC to issue the censor certificate forthwith after accounting for the verified excisions submitted by the producer. That direction, however, now remains in abeyance pending the division bench's final decision later this month. For that, thank you for watching.